All right, a lot has been made of the storm, of QAnon, of the breadcrumbs. I've talked to Dr. Corsi. He's talked to high-level sources saying, we like QAnon. We believe it's credible. This is Pentagon. This is White House. We want you to really focus on that. And the media's made a big deal out of that. Well, it's true. And, of course, Newsweek's called Corsi and said, give us your sources. Yeah, right. The point is, sources, press the attack, Alex. Don't stop. Don't give up. We're going to win. I won't let you down. There's your sources. So, Zack is known. He's been on national television many times, been written about in big articles as a star in U.S. intelligence, doing a great job formerly with the Army, now with another group. And he's been calling us for about a year with really interesting information. And then the last 6 months with stunning information, just as a citizen analyst, about what really happened at Vegas, what's happened with other events. And it's been beyond QAnon with what he said. He's been picked up once by the FBI, taken into the military base in Florida for questioning. Another time visited by the FBI over what he says on this show. And right now, he's saying Super Bowl this weekend, intel on planned false flags on the Super Bowl in Little Mogadishu. That's what Minneapolis, St. Paul is known as, Little Mogadishu, with a giant Somali population not converting to Americanism, just getting more entrenched in their Islamicist behavior. We have MSNBC analyst, former with the National Security Agency, and, of course, Michael Hastings' wife, Elissa Jordan, saying there will be massacres and huge consequences if you release the memo, which they were going to release tonight, but the FBI freaked out. Now they're talking about releasing it tomorrow morning. I've just been saying as a lay researcher that we are in false flag card area because it seems that's all they've got. And CNN is now reporting that FBI Director Wray may resign if the memo is released. So they were all threatening Trump, don't you dare ever fire us. Now they're saying we'll quit if you put out a memo proving the total collusion and that Russiagate's fake. They've already released that Wray, the people under him, like Stroke and all of them, said, we know it's fake, it's not real. We need an insurance policy. We're going to take this guy out. Violence against the president. I mean, their own spy grid now being turned against him. So this is an incredible time to be alive right now. And we go to Zack. Zack, thank you for joining us. Are you back in the U.S.?
I am. I'm back in the U.S. I'm down in Tampa as we speak. And, wow, it's a pleasure to be back on with you and, have the opportunity to connect some dots here because this is about as active of a time and an important of a time to be alive. A lot going on. So I have a couple key points here that I got to get to. And, yeah, you alluded to it. That's the intel we got on the false flags this weekend. But if I can, I would like to open up with some MS-13 information that was just driving me crazy during the State of the Union.
Please.
So Trump did bring up the State of the Union for several reasons. The most important, from my perspective, have nothing to do with immigration. I mean, it does have to do with that. But so these are the two words that are going to bring it all down. And, we have amnesia as a public. There's so much going on. But I don't have the amnesia because I saw it with my own eyes. Let's bring up Operation Castaway. All you researchers at home, you guys there at Infowars, bring up Operation Castaway. Operation Castaway was the sister program to Fast and Furious. It happened before it. This is the $400 million laundered through Wachovia. These are the Tampa ATF agents running the guns to Colombia, to Honduras, to Puerto Rico, eventually making their way to ISIS, all under the Holder and Obama DOJ. And who do they run those through? MS-13, you bet you. And this was reported. It kind of got swept under the rug. Fast and Furious kind of took the steam away from it. But this in particular involves MS-13. So this idea that this is a little gang that nobody knows about, no. MS-13 is MSNBC, and make no mistake, MS-13 is ISIS, literally. Those guns went to create ISIS, were used on the ground to fight against our armed forces. Those are the same guns that were in the hotel in Vegas. Those are the same guns used in false flags against Americans. Those were the same guns to attack your Second and Fourth Amendment. So, yeah, MS-13 is a pretty big deal. You got Operation Castaway. You got Fast and Furious. This is all under a corrupt DOJ with Holder and Obama leading it. So let's not have amnesia about this little gang. Yes, there's immigration.
Well, the bottom line from the Marine Corps colonels we've had on, everybody else in our congressional sources, MS-13 was used by Obama and their breakaway groups in the CIA, their shadow CIA, as their foot soldiers to carry out killings, to carry out money laundering, to carry out operations, not just here, but transnationally, including, has now been documented, Obama ordered the Hezbollah and Hamas investigations shut down of them linked up with MS-13, trafficking in arms and sex slaves here in the U.S. to black op fund Obama's resupplying operations for al-Qaeda and ISIS in North Africa and into Syria.
You bet you. And yeah, that's official. I mean, hits on government officials, $400 million laundered. These are the guns that created ISIS and made it happen. And this idea that, oh, this is just some gang, doesn't represent immigrants. You know, that speech, that State of the Union, was probably the most critical moment I've ever witnessed in my time on this planet. And that was the stamp of the Second American Revolution, make no mistake. And notice he quoted and he started talking about Guantanamo Bay. I think we need to keep it open. And he followed it up by talking about this term, which we'll start to hear in the next few months: enemy combatants. Enemy combatants. Why are we going to keep that open?
I noticed how he looked at the Democrats when he talked about that.
Oh, you bet. You're funded. You ran these guns under Operation Castaway, under Fast and Furious, that went to the border, that made their way, you know, to create ISIS, to essentially kill U.S. soldiers, you know, kill citizens in our own country. Look at Vegas. Look at everything. You're complicit. You knew what was going on. Don't give me the stuff about, you know, this was just something that went wrong. This is deep and this is important. The MS-13 connection, there's a reason he brought it up, and that was it. That's the Guantanamo Bay connection. We could get a little bit more into that, but I know your time's limited. I have to get into the false flags because obviously the train attack was a false flag, and I mean, this is going to come out in the next couple of days. But look, you know, the type of individuals that were on that train, I mean, this wasn't just, you know, your everyday passenger.
This is the highest value target.
This is House GOP members heading to a summit at Greenbrier. Okay, they're heading to a summit at Greenbrier in West Virginia. And this is important.
For folks that don't know, that's a COG base. They say it's no longer one, but it really is one.
Absolutely is. Project Greek Island, the underground bunker, heavily guarded as we speak by the U.S. Marine Corps. We're in full war footing, and it's happening right now. But
that's right. Trump's literally gone to the bunker for what's about to happen. He understands we're in full war mode.
The most sophisticated fallout shelter with complete capability and connection, hard tethered to D.C. and the Pentagon. I mean, Greenbrier, that's not by coincidence.
It's the former alternate government, for people that don't know.
100%. So the train attack was blatant and obvious. That was done by remote, done with drones. They put a patsy in there, but it was done with drones, remote controlled. The train was being followed by choppers and drones. They were wary because the streets were supposed to be shut down. There shouldn't have been nobody in the area. They were alerted, couldn't get done in time. There were some very interesting anomalies going on during the attack when the garbage truck was hit. Luckily, it was, you know, neutralized to a certain point. It was only that truck being hit, but it could have been much, much more dangerous, and I can't get any further. Well,
I mean, isn't that generally the message is we can get you, that was the final warning?
Well, they played their jack of clubs with Joe Kennedy in the rebuttal. They played, they pulled the 1-2 okey doke, the audible, getting crazy Maxine out of there and putting Joe Kennedy, and people laugh and they mock his rebuttal, which it was cringeworthy. But you have to understand what's being done there. I mean, if you have a pulse and a frontal cortex, you have to understand what's going on there. His family lineage, that was a complete message to Trump to say, you know what happened to JFK, you know what happened and went on there. So he better had look uncomfortable because he was sold out. And that's a message to Trump and the GOP. And obviously you see the false flags that followed afterwards. He wasn't the left golden child. That was a jack of clubs move. That was the message to Trump. Oh, you're going to do this? We're coming for you. And Joe Kennedy's, he knows what he's involved in. Stanford, Harvard, he's into it. I can't believe he got up there and said what he said and did what he did, but who knows?
That's right. Let's come back. Was a false flag carried out during the Saudi Arabian military visit. And then a few weeks later, Trump went in and they arrested all those people, and Saudi Arabia joined the coalition. And Zack talked about all that before it happened, while it happened, and after it happened. So that's why Zack is known to me, not some anonymous QAnon on 8chan, who Zack says is a group of good people, and that we should all look at it, that it's credible. This is Zack. That's his real name. I know his last name. And again, I've matched his voice up and everything to when he's been on national television and interviews and you name it, as a decorated soldier for many years. at high levels of intelligence. He's right there, obviously, in Tampa right now. So I want him to get right to it, because I can just look at their playbook. They're behind, they're burning, their shadow government's falling apart, their deep state infiltration's falling apart. Everything they've touched is turning to dust. They tried to overthrow the president. That was a bunch of crimes. It's blowing up in their face. Now they're desperate, saying, don't release the memo. They've gone from saying, oh, it's no big deal, to being so scared. What's the false flag intel you've got? Can it be stopped? And then how does it tie in to the next shoe to drop, and what you're expecting them to try next, and what is in the memo?
Okay, so there's a couple false flags that occurred in the weeks prior, and we haven't slowed down. They've all been foiled. I mean, if you want to go to Hawaii, if you want to go to a couple other things that we could get into after we get into this, but the Super Bowl false flag, what I need your guys to do there, your crew and all the Infowars at home, is you just get on the FBI Twitter right now. Look at what they posted today. Look what they posted yesterday. These creepy videos about how big their security is going to be. They're running drills, exercises. This is all their public push. And look into the typography on the videos that they have posted on their Twitter. You could pick it up right now. I have my own intel that we're going to get into, but just publicly what they're doing. Obviously, there's a war between the White House and the FBI. That's no big secret. But when you start looking at very unconventional postings about the FBI bloating and kind of floating about exercises and this amount of power they have over the Super Bowl this weekend on their public forum, which they've never done, maybe Trump has sort of change that zeitgeist, but yeah, just look at their things, and look, the chatter's out there. I can't get into certain speculations, but the word on the street is this, and this is credible, and everyone who knows what they're looking at is looking at this, and this is on blotters. Intelligence communities are looking at this. There's an attack planned for this weekend at the Super Bowl. During the State of the Union, you have Trump. First of all, throughout the entire year, Trump's been at war with the NFL and the kneeling. He brings them up. Obviously, all the stuff with the FBI and the NFL as of late. There's a credible threat this weekend, and on the world stage, the biggest stage in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, Little Mogadishu, the biggest Somali community outside of Somalia. So it's credible, it's real. They always have exercises and these sort of things going on. While these are going on, to have one of their wind-up cutouts do something right underneath their nose for the world to see, and they are in a desperate measure here. They've continued to do false flags for many months that Trump has neutralized and sort of, played this sort of 5D Zen chess with them. But they need to know that they're desperate, and doesn't mean that, something, that they could pull something off here, because there are credible threats. This weekend, they're trying to pull off something big. It could have a dirty bomb effect for the world to see. They would love nothing more to embarrass the American people, hurt the American people, and hurt Trump. The city is set and setting perfect for this sort of thing, and this is not just a stretch by my part. That's why nobody's kind of been talking about it, but the threats are out there. There's chatter out there. We're tracking it, but so is the FBI. But to be honest, we can't trust them. So we're going to need to sort of be very, very vigilant and try to stop this right here. This is very serious. This is very credible. Hasn't been in the news, but make no mistake, a lot of people know about this, and it's obvious.
Zach, let me raise this. Clearly, they've set Trump up against the NFL. He stood up against it and said, why are you being anti-American? They would love to make themselves the victims. They have said that if you keep criticizing us, you're going to cause a massacre. That's been the warning from the globalist deep state to Trump by their capos publicly on television. So would they have a Somali do it as the backup and then blame a patriot to say, oh, look, a Trump supporter truck bombed the Super Bowl. Oh, my God, it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Or would they just have a Somali do it and say, oh, because you've criticized, Islam, you caused this to happen, and then try that as a distraction from the whole FISA memo and everything they've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, it's going to be many Somalis. Unfortunately, it's going to be many Somali individuals. We've heard the chatter. We know what's going on. It's conversations like this that hopefully, blow their spot up. But we're showing
video of the Mall of America right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a group of Somali individuals. There's obviously ISIS will take credit. in conjunction with these individuals. But obviously, the deep state has its hooks in when it comes to these groups, and they are deep state ran. This is Al Qaeda. They are going for their last grasp. But what we have to understand is this: we hear everything they're doing, we see everything they're doing. So these individuals are desperate, and they've picked their sides. I'm hoping that they have a change of heart, and we have to understand that the State of the Union really publicly changed the momentum of a lot of things. And the people on the left that are not going along with this, I just don't get it.
I picked up that it broke the back of some of the stay-behind networks, and it also, the poll show, reached through to people who were in their haze. 75 was the average poll point, and that it was I felt spiritually the enemy's back was broken. Is that what you're saying?
100%. But again, you know, a lot of these individuals, they're afraid if they don't go on with the mission, if they don't carry it out, that they will be murdered themselves. But they need to come out as whistleblowers. They need to stop this activity.
Exactly. Well, we've heard that FBI agents and others have been whistleblowing to the intelligence committees and to Trump and others. Trump's all about not letting secret info out, but I think he needs to just start playing the cards now.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing a sort of a game of chicken there with the memo. The memo is going to come out later today. I expect later today, maybe into the morning, but it'll be within 24 hours, that's for sure. But they did, sort of play this game and get the postponement of Flynn's, sentencing there, so they know what they're doing. But, let me just let everybody know, in case they're not privy, which if they're not, they're out of their mind. McCabe sung like a bird. He was compromised. Al-Walid. Okay, Al-Walid is a free man now, but make no mistake, he sung like a bird. Okay, Al-Walid told everything. So if you're being funded from overseas. This Prince Al-Walid who's walking the streets now. Just know that you're being surveilled. Just know that we hear everything.
And let's be clear, for those that don't know, he was the ringleader of the Saudi breakaway group, funding much of the deep state.
Trump showed up on his first official visit anywhere to a foreign country, to Riyadh, to the House of Saud, waved the sword. And obviously, we saw the change there. Walid's a free man. Walid has no loyalty to the United States. His pockets are dry. They're going to let him hold on to his country.
I noticed the king of Saudi Arabia, I've seen a lot of video of him, doesn't normally look really freaked out. He looks super freaked out with Trump.
It's over. It's changing. The State of the Union was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. The lunar activity that was going on, we're not going to go down that road, but it did. This timing is anointed. This is divine intervention. This is something special. This is something I believed in. And we opened the call with the MS-13, the gun running. This is what opened my eyes while I was in the military, and being prepared and being groomed to be something that was ridiculous. And I think a lot of individuals, whether you're a legislator, whether you're a soldier, whether you're an intelligence analyst or operator, you could fall victim to this, and we need to open our eyes and have faith and realize this is real life. Be loyal. Don't do this. Okay? Don't do this. These false flags don't end well. And the people who are funding this, these elites on the left and the deep state actors, even deeper entrenched, how do you think this ends? It's over. The writing's on the wall. They're like,
well, I told Mike Adams off air and everybody else in the studio, I said, I've never felt this much energy, this much spidey senses, they say, sixth sense that something huge is about to happen. And I feel good rising and evil rising, and you see it as well. But that's why Trump said, I'll talk to the FBI director maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. That was signaling your whole thing's going to be exposed within. You won't even want the interview, Mueller.
They were going to pull off several attacks all at once around the stadium. I shouldn't say they were, it's still going on, but hopefully we could stop it here. Several attacks to cause panic, herd individuals into a certain location, and detonate a dirty bomb for the world to see on the world stage to embarrass Trump, to embarrass the economy in little Mogadishu. And this ties everything, and it would act as a distraction and an absolute...
Well, that's right, because Trump didn't back down with Vegas, which goes right after his pocketbook hotels and things, exactly.
Well, and you would notice Trump really didn't even speak about the quote-unquote failed Hawaiian missile test work like that. That was a neutralized threat. They tried to lure him into a Pearl Harbor type strike on North Korea. We heard them. We saw them. Yeah,
just like Bay of Pigs. Stay right there. We'll be back on the Sunday. So I'll be live on air during the Super Bowl covering this. Obviously a prime target. They already hit Vegas. We know that was some of the same stay-behind network. You say you've got the intel. You've only proven accurate, which makes this horrifying. But it sounds like you're saying hopefully it's getting rolled up. We'll see what happens here, but you were getting into the missile test. I've talked to folks that have worked in that. They say there's 5 fail-safes before that happens, and that there's really no way that could even go on. Obviously, someone fell on their sword and got reassigned. What's the intel you've got, Zach?
Yeah, when that was coming out, it was kind of confusing for people. It's sort of, bizarre, the sort of explanations that you hear and things like this. It's just not a reality that there could just be operator error. It was not operator error. That was a neutralized real-world situation in a desperation operation to trigger Trump into an attack on North Korea, via Pearl Harbor, any of these other Gulf of Tonkin sort of incidents. This is nothing new in our unfortunately in our deep state country's history. So it's very dangerous, and it's kind of obviously classified what really went on. But all you need to do is look at the reaction of the actual White House. Trump made it very clear in the State of the Union that we are not going to televise, and we're not going to put out what our tactics are and what our plans are against enemy combatants and terrorists and threats around the world. So, they could go along. This was just operator error. This was a deep state desperation operation to trigger war and to distract from everything that's unfolding now. Unfortunately, we of course, were days ahead of them, even weeks ahead of them. This wasn't something new. We heard all the chatter. We heard everything, and it was actually neutralized. There was an actual threat. If you look at the time span between the alert going out and it actually the next alert coming in to say, hey, sorry, just a mistake, no big deal. This is probably, 20 to 30 minutes longer than what it would actually take for the missile to actually come here if there was a missile.
Sure, of course. Well, I've traveled to Kauai, to that main defensive missile base there, further most westerly part of the United States. And, North Korea has been firing missiles. From your information, was it North Korea? Did somebody else fire a missile to try to confuse things, to trick Trump into giving the order to preemptively attack North Korea? Then they'd say, sir, that never really happened, and then remove him? Because I saw them beta test and sell that idea. Yeah,
this was the official information, and it'll come out. But this was supposedly shot underwater. This was from a submarine. This was a real threat. Are
you saying it was okay? So it was a Polaris-style missile.
Yes, and it was credible, but it was neutralized. So, individuals in the systems did, sort of freak out, and there was some operator error at a certain level, but not to the capacity that nothing happened. There was a credible threat in underwater that was going to, breach and obviously hit the islands there. That was neutralized almost immediately after it took off. Look.
And you're saying it wasn't with North Korea, some rogue group trying to false flag us into confrontation with North Korea?
100%. And off of North Korean waters. It wasn't even close to here, but it was off North Korean waters. And that's going to come out, and everybody knows it. But again, I respect Trump. I see what he's doing. He doesn't want to put everything out there.
Well, is that why we've seen all these missile trails and huge explosions in the Northern Pacific and other areas? Because it looks like a bunch of craziness is going on. I know that they even caught leftist and Al-Qaeda and ISIS operatives in it. That's why I actually went to Hawaii. It doubled as a kind of a rescation, but I did talk to some folks there, obviously. People noticed the week I was there, they arrested somebody at the base. And I went out and shot some video and talked about how critical it was, because I knew coming up with North Korea, deep staters, people would be targeting that base. Spies who transferred nukes to North Korea discovered. There is the video, one of the videos that I break down from Hawaii and from the missile base. But absolutely, there's no way, except the telemetry, it's then checked by humans, they then go through the switching process, and that alert wouldn't go out, as you said, it was a false alert for 38 minutes. It only takes about, from that area of the Pacific, 14 minutes with the average booster, with those Russian boosters they've got from Ukraine, to get up in the atmosphere, then come back in. So clearly something went on. Clearly something got shot down. Now you've got huge missiles getting shot down over Russia. It looks like a nuke probably went off a few weeks ago, and that got shut down. Just incredible, shaking the ground. You've got other missiles getting shot down. You've had the famous Chinese launch, years ago off the Pacific to threaten everybody with a Polaris-style sea-launched missile. So all your intel adds into that. You're saying that's what you got from sources. That is just beyond sensational. That's horrifying, but that fits that a false alarm like that's basically impossible. The story we heard, somebody hit a wrong button we know is impossible. So you're saying what really happened is Trump has been shooting down missiles, but then figuring out it wasn't North Korea and standing down, foiling their plan.
Yeah, absolutely. He understands that these are, that it's a deep state operation and sort of communist ran, which is also part of a deep state operation, our China sort of, our communication, our relationship. And same thing with this train attack that occurred. You notice in the speech he just gave there at Greenbrier, he sort of alludes to it as, oh, I hope everybody's okay in the train attack. He doesn't come out and say what we already know. That train was, being followed by choppers, drones. There should have been nobody around. They know exactly what's going on. They have video footage, but he's not going to come out and say it. He's not even giving them the floor. He's just neutralizing them. They're going through all this.
And by the way, here's how we know all this. I'm going to go back to you, Zack. They pre-program anything they do. So I remember the last couple of months, if he orders an illegal strike, we'll take him out. If he does this and that, we'll take him out. We'll remove him. We're ready. And all these Clinton holdovers saying this out of the blue and saying, oh, there's racism at the Air Force Academy, and that's a false flag, and it's all Trump's fault. You could see them beta testing and pre-planning this so they could do it. This is amazing. Keep going.
Yes, and they underestimated, obviously, the election, and those numbers were even wrong. They say he was elected not by the popular vote, but, through the Electoral College. Yeah, that's correct. He was, elected through the Electoral College, but those numbers are way wrong. And Trump alluded to it in the very first words in his speech. They're saying, now we know, as of a couple minutes ago, what the real numbers were. It's all coming out. DHS ran major operations during the election. They're uncovering it all. And I just got to say this, and it's important because Trump has the pulse, and he has the backing of patriots in our government. So when it comes to this QAnon phenomenon, I just need to be very clear. I am not QAnon. I'm not typing on Chan boards. Make no mistake, I'm chiming in boardrooms, but I'm not QAnon. I respect what they're doing. I know they do great work. I'm just, there's people who are patriots in this country, and we don't need to pick sides or, root for one over the other as gospel. We need to come together.
No, I totally agree. I was just simply saying, people can speculate all day about QAnon. I know who you are. You've given us great info, and the fruit of the tree is really, really what proves things.
I just want us to all come together. I think we'd be more effective if we came together. And you've been great, but just as a listening base, as a country, look, they're doing great things. I'm doing great things. Hundreds of us are doing great things. Thousands of us are doing great things. Let's all come together and work. They're doing great work, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I acknowledge and tip my hat to them. Not involved with it, but I acknowledge them and I see them. So they're doing great work, and I appreciate it. But with that being said, look, there's also other individuals that are going to be coming into the zeitgeist this month. The first day of Black History Month. What a way to kick off Black History Month. Lowest black unemployment. That's a side issue. We could go in there, but I know your time's limited. Julian Assange is very active right now in ways that I can't quite get into. But make no mistake that he is a patriot, and the communication at the highest levels of our government is pretty transparent. So, they just got to get ready for the next couple months here. What's going to come out in the next couple months is pretty important. Actually, in the next week with this memo being released is very important, but we can't lose sight of certain threats with, right in front of our
Well, that's my next issue. I was told, hey, this memo that's been declassified, the blacked out areas are who ordered it, proving perjury. The media spun it that I was saying it was the whole memo. I was saying it's a blueprint with this memo of all their perjury, of the nest, of the orders, of plans for violence against the president. And now the FBI leadership is still flipping out saying don't release it. What is your info on what is in the memo?
Well, first of all, it's a memo. Okay, it's going to be pretty damning because what it's going to release is it's going to break through this sort of brick wall of course the government would never do this. Of course this couldn't occur. Of course certain individuals wouldn't be involved in this sort of thing. Well, actually, yes, they are, but in my opinion, it's fairly mild. It's important for what it sort of alludes to, and it's important for, obviously...
Sure, they're just getting us ready for all of it to come out as if these groups don't capitulate. It's the blueprint of the Clinton insiders.
This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. The memo is important. I mean, put it that way. It's important just to kind of say, hey, look, this is what we're dealing with. You thought you were dealing with something that was infallible? You're wrong. This is what's really going on. Let's get off the Russian collusion. Let's get off all of this. Let's actually see what the DOJ is doing. And we opened the call talking about Operation Castaway. You think the DOJ and the FBI is infallible? We're arming our enemies. We're laundering money for drug cartels.
And notice how it did come out that Obama killed investigations into Hezbollah running guns and drugs in the U.S. to fund operations in the Middle East.
Operation Castaway is Obama and Holder solely. So this falls out kind of outside of Fast and Furious. And this is incredible. This is unbelievable info, and nothing has happened. So we're seeing Sessions he knows this information. He understands what's going on. We're going to give him a little bit more time, but it's no coincidence.
Well, the biggest thing you're doing is raising the alarm that you've got the intel and the chatter. You're saying directly that they're picking up the fact that a large group of Somalis is planning multiple attacks on the Super Bowl.
Multiple attacks that will eventually lead to a fairly big event that we're hoping to neutralize, obviously, with this sort of information, and like the missile test, like the train attack, like other things that were either stopped completely or, stopped right when they began. Yeah, absolutely. So I have faith in what's going on. I have faith in individuals being able to stop it. But this information was critical, and of course, you'll start to see stuff break about this. But FBI, by their own admission, this is textbook false flag, running operations via 9/11, same time, same place, and they got their cutouts and individuals who are brainwashed in a trance, and they are literally running for their lives. The FBI, that's the problem. We've never had a precedent in this country like we do now, with the White House physically fighting the FBI in the sort of Zen, don't bring it up, we're bigger than that. Message coming out the White House is incredible, because the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, if the people truly know it, would just be unbelievable.
Sure, there's a civil war going on, and I wouldn't say the whole FBI. I don't just do that to grovel. Most FBI agents are low level doing stuff, but I mean, what would you say? Like the top 10% of the FBI is a bunch of Clinton operatives?
Probably 5%. 5% of the real power brokers, everyday field agents are pretty good guys. Of course,
sure. So I'm saying it's the top. It's the top. I mean, yeah. All right. Well, listen. Please come back on tomorrow and come on Sunday, Zach, as this develops, because you're an amazing source, and we really appreciate you. So please talk to the crew and come on tomorrow. Okay.
It'd be an honor. Thank you.
Thanks. I didn't plug last hour. I haven't plugged this hour. We're not going to be able to fund this operation if you don't buy products at InfoWarsStore.com. They're products you need. They're great products. We have the new shirt of the month. Get 20% off when you sign up for the shirt of the month. Cancel anytime. It's got Trump 2020. It's a beautiful new shirt, and it's limited edition for only 1 month. We've also got Cellforce at 50% off. That's DNA Force Plus.